I've got spirit. Yes, sirree. I've got spirit. How about me? Subscribe? Hi, I'm John, and this is Bogdan. Join us on our journey as we figure out how to earn a living as artists, introduce you to those we meet, and share what we learn along the way. As creatives, many of us spend a lot of our time working on our art alone. That's often the nature of the beast. That could mean hours of painting, writing, programming, rehearsing, doing graphic design. Whatever our creative input may be, many of us do it ourselves and do it alone. Add a freelance, self-employed layer to that already solitary art practice, and who could blame us for feeling isolated? In some ways, working alone is freeing. We can call our own shots, work at our own pace, control our environment to the best suit our craft. But isolation can have a negative effect as well. What happens when we feel down or uninspired? When you spend the lion's share of your time alone, who do you turn to for motivation, for inspiration? Obviously, the role of cheerleader falls squarely back on our own shoulders. Who's going to motivate me in my business? I am. Who's going to shake me out and when I'm in an unproductive slump? I am. And if there are times when I'm not able to do that for myself, then I'm going to have to find people and situations that can help to do it for me. What does that look like for a self-employed loner? I'm afraid there's not going to be one answer to cover us all. It's slightly easier for me since my spouse and I run our business together. When Bogdan seems down, I can step in to help, and vice versa. What do you do when you're totally on your own?
In choosing your life work, there are many things to be considered. First of all, you must know yourself, your strong point, your weakness, your likes and dislikes.
Can we know ourselves well enough to be able to sense when we lack motivation? And further, to be able to take steps to break through that block alone? It turns out there are ways to help with motivating yourself. And I think the most important is to make sure you're doing what you love to do. Follow your passion. If you don't love the work you're doing as a creative, I personally don't see how you could ever turn that into a business. Maybe I'm wrong, but why would you even want to? I'm not implying that you have to love organizing receipts or paying your sales tax. There are going to be all sorts of little things that you may hate doing in your small business. But when those tasks are getting the better of you, you can turn your attention to the fact that you absolutely love your job. Are there other things that inspire you? Take a walk through the woods. Look at your old sketchbooks. Hang out with an artist friend. Watch that movie that always makes you want to go and paint. Figure out what those things are and then use them as needed. You can always create rewards for yourself. Devise ways to treat yourselves at intervals during a project, or even bigger rewards when the project is complete. These could vary from taking a walk, buying some new gear for your artwork, watching a program or a movie, or even springing for a trip to Mexico when larger milestones have passed. These rewards can be your secret, but they can go a long way in keeping your spirits high and keeping your motivation strong. Of course, having clear goals tied to a vision and mission you know well and that you've internalized, and having specific short and long-term plans will help you immeasurably in keeping yourself motivated and on task. I can understand, though, if that level of planning and rigidity might be too much for some creatives at the start. Do what you can and take incremental steps. I would hate to kill your passion for art because you get bogged down in the business management of that art business. Take it at your own pace, but get there over time. My biggest problem is that I get lost in the details and things start falling through the cracks. Just last week, I did all my writing, filming, and recording for my podcast. I got the thumbnail picture all sorted, and I checked the title against a title generator online, and I created postings on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest to promote the podcast. I got them all scheduled to drop on the right day and uploaded the video version to YouTube and marked that episode as complete. And then it occurred to me that I'd never actually uploaded the audio file into the podcast platform. Well, that's a pretty basic component of a podcast episode. When those things happen, I feel my anxiety levels rise, and I start to worry if there are other things that I've forgotten. Soon my creativity is paralyzed. How I address that issue is to create a checklist of all the steps I have to go through to create and publish a podcast episode. That way, I just work through the list and I don't have to try and keep all those moving parts in my brain. This week, my morale has been much higher because I can just work off that checklist without freaking out about what still has to happen or feeling overwhelmed. I can break the steps down into bite-sized pieces, and I don't have to wonder if I'm forgetting something important. We have the luxury of maintaining studios in a large complex with 50 other artists in our building and about 400 artists throughout the entire complex. Every day I get energy from the other creative people around me. It seems that whenever creative people get together, wonderful things seem to happen. But you need not rent space in a collective to hang out with other creatives. Check your community for meetup groups and artist organizations and for different art events. And if there's nothing out there, go create your own. Just because you work alone, you don't have to feel like you are alone. Reaching out to others not only can lift your morale and spark new ideas, but it can also create some important friendships. And who doesn't need more friends? You owe it to yourself and to your artwork to stay sharp and motivated in your practice. Don't ever forget that you are a brand. You are your business. So don't underestimate the value of a cheerleader. Grab your baton, slip on a bedazzled leotard, and grab your pom-poms, because you have work to do. We're still giving away a free copy of the template spreadsheet that we use to track all our expenses and such. I thought it might be useful to someone who hasn't already done that. So drop me an email or go to my website under the tab giveaway and leave me your email and address and I'll send you the file. Use it any way you like. I hope it's helpful. Have a wonderful week and spend some time building your own tools for self-motivation. I'll see you next week when we'll talk about becoming a self-starter in your small creative business. Bye.